Hey guys, this is Joanne speaking here, and welcome to another storytime video. I'm sure a lot of you remember my other storytime video where I was in a horrible group project. Well, I got another one to tell you guys, but this time, this one is actually really scary. A quick question, have you ever been in a tornado warning before? Maybe some of you have been in one before, or maybe more than once. And as for me, I was in a tornado warning before, but only once. However, that only time I got in one many years ago was enough to scare the daylights out of me. After thinking about what happened and seeing that someone else on YouTube told their own tornado stories, I just have to tell you guys this story. And fair warning, if you have an extreme fear of tornadoes, this video is probably not for you. So here we go. It was around the evening of May the 4th, 2007. My parents and I lived in Calvesta, Kansas at the time. I was sitting in my room playing Super Smash Bros. Melee on my Nintendo GameCube, and my parents were in another room watching TV. It was also around either 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. I don't know. It's been a while, but back to the story. Things seemed to be peaceful when all of a sudden our power went out. It was very silent, it was almost pitch black in the house, and I can barely see jack crap. I managed to find my flashlight though. Then 1 minute later, the power comes back on, and I was like, okay then, I guess we're good now already. I turned the GameCube back on, and I had to start over on my game due to the power outage. Then 2 minutes later, the power went out again, and that's when both my parents and I started to think, what is going on here? What's causing the power to go out twice? As I was sitting in the dark waiting for the power to come back on, I soon started to hear wind noises. I could barely hear the wind coming from outside, but those wind sounds sounded very strong. It sounded more like this. I got up from the floor, looked out my window, and even though it's dark outside, I saw that the sky was green. I've never seen anything like that before in my life, and this got me thinking, what is going on here? The sky isn't supposed to be like that, right? Then that's when I started to get the feeling that something bad is happening. Meanwhile, my parents are still in the other room. My dad looked in the closet and found our portable radio that comes with a light. My parents decided to use it to check on the weather that's going on outside, but right before they turned this thing on, Dad's cell phone suddenly started ringing. He answered it and put it on speakerphone. It was one of his friends, who's a storm chaser, by the way. I forgot the guy's name, but I'm gonna call him Brian for this story. On the phone, Brian tells my dad, "You need to get your wife and daughter underground right now. There's a tornado heading right for you. It's a mile or two away from your house." My parents were shocked by this news, but they remained calm regardless. Soon my dad walked in my room with a portable radio he and my mom found, and he told me, "Joanne, we're going downstairs to the basement right now. You can get a few of your things if you want, but you need to be super quick." I was confused on what's happening because I did not hear the conversation between Brian and my dad, but I listened anyways. I grabbed two of my Pikachu plushies, my Game Boy Advance, and the flashlight I found. Soon, my dad and I were heading downstairs to the basement, and my mom was frantically trying to grab my cats and my dog Jasper. When my dad saw what she was doing, he started shouting at her and calling her Dorothy. "Drop these dang cats and get down here to the basement right now, Dorothy!" If you guys have seen The Wizard of Oz, you'll understand why he was calling her that name. My cats and my dog did notice something was wrong, and they all went down to the basement with us. My parents and I went to the deepest part of the basement where there's a little room, and we closed the door. As I stood there in the dark, I reluctantly asked my dad this question. "Dad, is there a tornado?" And then he answered, "Yes, there is." Hearing that answer, my heart started pounding hard, and my hands started shaking. I started crying in fear, and even though we were underground, I was going, "I'm gonna die, I'm scared, the tornado's gonna get us." And of course, I was also scared of losing all my plushies and toys and belongings upstairs. Mom had to reassure me that we're going to be okay, but even with that, I was still scared about this tornado that was heading towards our house. I turned on my Game Boy Advance and tried to play Pokemon Leaf Green to calm down, but that didn't work. So my dad tuned into the radio, and as he was searching for the news channel, we soon heard this sound. Yep. The sound that no one wants to hear on TV or radio, but it's the sound we need anyways, and for good reasons. We found the news channel, and we pretty much sat in the room with our lights on, listening to what's going on out there with that tornado and where it was moving. I didn't pay much attention to what the radio was saying because several times I was too scared stiff to listen. Long story short, we sat in the basement for at least 2 hours, and eventually we were given an all clear, and it was safe for us to come out of the basement. The tornado didn't hit our house, it actually disappeared before it had the chance to do that. We all went to bed, but I didn't sleep well that night because I was scared that another tornado was going to touch down while I'm sleeping and pick me up like in the opening of Twister. The next morning, I woke up feeling exhausted. When I walked outside, I saw that the two outdoor chairs that were sitting in front of our house were tossed to the side because of the strong wind from that night. I can't even imagine myself being outside during that night. Later on, I found out more about the tornado, and it's very shocking. The tornado that was heading towards us was the same exact tornado that destroyed most of a town called Greensburg. Greensburg ended up getting a direct hit from the tornado, leaving 70 people injured and 11 people dead. Not only it was 1.7 miles wide, but it was also classified as an EF5. After the town was hit, the tornado did a counterclockwise loop into the northwest, and that was when it was heading for us. However, it vanished before it even reached our house. Oh, and after the F5 tornado disappeared, there were 3 more large tornadoes that touched down that night, and I think all of them were F3 tornadoes, but Greensburg did not get hit by any of the 3. The 3 tornadoes went on for a few hours before they disappeared. Fast forward to several weeks later, my parents and I were heading home from Colorado one night after a little vacation, and we somehow ended up driving to Greensburg. We stopped the car in the middle of the town. I rolled down the window and took a look, and golly. The aftermath was devastating, and it was dead silence out there. There were piles of debris and wood pieces everywhere. I saw a tree that was torn up and stripped of its leaves. And I saw one streetlight that's still standing with its light on. No one was out there. Greensburg was a ghost town. The only thing I saw alive outside was a group of moths flying around the streetlight that was still working. If you Google Greensburg, Kansas, you're going to see a lot of information about what happened and how this tornado changed that town. What happened to Greensburg is something my parents and I won't forget, and what happened to us that night is also something we won't forget either. And that's pretty much the end of my tornado story. I'm happy I'm not living in a tornado zone anymore, especially after what happened. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I know that this was a dark story, but it does show the reality of the nature of tornadoes, and nature can't be sugar-coated. Anyways, I'll see you guys in another video.